Good evening, everybody. It is a beautiful, cold Monday night here in the state of Michigan, and we are a day late on our weekly live stream. I was out surveying damage in Ohio yesterday, so I didn't get a chance to make it home in time to hop on live, so I apologize about that. But we are here on Monday night. Uh, going to look over the next couple of days worth of weather. We have some snow chances on the horizon, and then also jump into the long-term patterns. So, welcome to the stream. Hit the like button for me. We'll go ahead and get started. What's up, Robert? What's up, Alan? Thanks for joining. So, most of you are probably seeing a lot of talk in your news feeds if you follow weather closely about snow potential for the later part of this week. And I do want to say there is some truth to it, but how much truth is yet to be seen. It's going to be cold enough for snow, but we just don't know exactly how much and where at. So if we look at our temperature model for the next upcoming week here, we're going to see Michigan off up here. This is the LP. This is the UP. We're going to see these temperatures are going to remain pretty much in the 30s pretty much all week. We have a brief warm up into the 40s for Tuesday tomorrow, and then back comes the cold air protruding south on Wednesday into the Thursday and Friday, even into the weekend time frame. So the battle of the air mass is going on here, and the cold weather is winning throughout the week. So with that being said, that cold weather is going to support the chances of snow. So expect temperatures throughout the part of the week to be in the mid to upper 30s. Tomorrow will be the warmest, probably 40s. But after that, we're going to be in the 30s probably until next week. In terms of snow chances, Thursday night is what everybody's talking about. But personally, I'm thinking more so towards the Friday time frame. The system does look to slow down a little bit. Looking at our updated GFS precipitation type, which is basically your blue is snow, green is rain. This is potential what the radar could look like here. We see some lingering snow showers in the northern part of the state in the UP there throughout the next couple of days. But we head into the Thursday time frame. We watch the system out to our west here. That's pushing snow towards our direction. This is going to be Friday morning on this model. Like I said, I think it slowed down just a bit. But this is going to arrive in our state here during the day on Friday. Now, the main question is how far south or how far north, how are we going to look at that? Is that rain snow line going to set up? Now, the GFS is much further north than the European model is. I'll go ahead and show you guys that here in a second. But overall, your first initial look at accumulations with that system are going to be probably pretty light, between 2 and 4 inches. And this is a GFS model, all right? The GFS does have throughout the week here lake effect snow up here in the northern part of Michigan. That may accumulate if you're for a few inches up there. So make sure you keep that in mind there if you're up in the UP or northern Michigan. But here comes that system that plows through the area. Now, it looks like it's 10 inches up there, but throughout the week, it's already accumulated 5 or so inches. So overall, 2 to 4 would be a general assumption here. And this is for northern Michigan. But if we go ahead and switch over here to the European model is more so looking at a good widespread 2 to 4, a little bit further south there, just missing out Lenawee, Monroe counties there. Still getting a dusting down there by the border. But overall, the European is looking roughly 2 to 4 inches for that time frame. Now, exactly where that's going to set up is going to be key to forecasting this. If you're further south, just know you have a lesser chance of snow. The further north you go, definitely has a higher chance. It's not going to be anything significant. I wouldn't expect there to be any winter storm watches or anything like that. But overall, a pretty light snow, but we've had pretty warm weather, so having a snow return is going to be a little bit weird for us here as we head into the later part of March. Now, there's a bigger system behind this I want to point out that I will not get into detail about, but if we look at the overall synoptic pattern here, this is the first system that comes through. There it is, rain to the south, snow in our state. Look out to your west here in the plains. Here is your second system that we're watching for Sunday, Monday time frame that could bring yet another round of snow or rain. But again, same question applies there. How far north/south does that rain snow line sit up? But again, a higher chance of accumulating snowfall for the second system, in my opinion. If it has a further south track, we may be looking at a pretty good 5+ inches with this system. But again, not going to get too specific with it yet, but I would like to point that out that we do have a secondary system for Sunday. into the Monday time frame. That's just the general time frame. Not going to lock that down specifically. Just what the models are currently showing. The European also does have this to a lesser degree, a little bit more weaker on the system, but overall, it is definitely a risk that you guys should be aware of as we head towards next week time frame. If this becomes a bigger event than what we expect it to be, we will go ahead and start doing live streams and stuff like that to make sure you guys are prepared and informed for the system if it looks like it's going to be a bigger wallop, so to speak. Now, again, for those of you just joining, snow chances Thursday into Friday, primarily Friday. The further north you go, the higher your snow chance is, 2 to 4. Again, it's your general accumulation, and then further south, higher chance of rain there, but still could see some snow mixing in, and then a bigger system on the weekend does look to push in. As far as temperatures go, tomorrow will be the warmest day in the 40s, and then it drops back into the mid to upper 30s statewide, maybe dipping into the 20s here for lows through the week. But as we get into the next week, then we look to get into a warming trend after the system moves through. We look to our temperature forecast for early next week. A bit too far out to lock that in, but we do see that trend there after the system moves through. There's a warmer temperatures coming in. We're back into the 50s by the Monday and Tuesday time frame. So whatever does fall with that second system, if anything, would melt fairly quickly. But then we see another shot of cold air possible, but then we see the warm air try to fight it off, and it does win there according to this model. So we look to warm back up. Now, going into the long-term pattern forecasting, we look to a couple different things here. We're going to start today with the temperature forecast. Again, the blues, greens, and white purplish colors you see on your screen here are your colder temperatures, and then obviously the warmer colors are your orange, yellowish temperatures, and your just plain old white is going to be your normal temperatures. So this is your current time frame. This is a 7-day temperature anomaly. So anomaly just means normal. We're going to see Michigan, most of the eastern U.S. here in blue. That means colder than average, which is what we're seeing. But we're going to move this through into the early parts of, or should I say the later parts of March. We see that cold air stick around here. We're protected by Lake Michigan there. Michigan does not get in this darker green area up here, which is much below average. We're going to stay pretty much right around or just below average here. But as we head into early April, that cold anomaly starts to shift back to the warm anomaly the first and second week of April. So what that tells us is April, as of right now, is trending to be warmer or about near normal, which is right around that 60-degree mark. So after this week of cold temperatures, I wouldn't look to see that be extended into the April timeframe. I think it's going to be pretty much a subtle 1-week shot of some cold and snow, and then we're right back into that normal to above normal temperature pattern that may spark some more showers and storms into the early to mid parts of April. And that pattern is also supported by the European extended weekly as well. So not just the GFS, which is what you're looking at here, it is supported here on the European as well. Now, that was also supported here on our Arctic oscillation. We see, again, for those of you who don't know what this is, the middle line here in the middle of this graph is what we call neutral. Above that is positive, below that is negative. We see this line here, which is a line of each model that's run. And we see the average is staying right around that neutral phase. So when it's a positive phase, that basically just means the higher chance it is for warmer air, and the lower it is more chance for colder air. We see it right here. This is our little dip for the next week and the cold, and it goes back to the positive for the early to mid parts of April. And then late April here does kind of dip back off there. That's a forecast uncertainty with time frame there. We don't want to get too far in advance, but overall pattern does support at least the next couple of weeks. Cold this week, and then a warm up back to what we've been having for our early spring is expected into early to mid-April. So that is all I got for you guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in chat. Otherwise, I'd appreciate it if you hit that like button on the stream for me. That does help us out with the algorithm and stuff like that. But overall, snow on Friday, and then again possibly on Sunday/Monday. Then the cold air ends into the early parts of next week. So a pretty straightforward forecast in terms of how much snow. Don't ask. I don't know yet. I'm going to say 2 to 4 for Friday, but that weekend system could be a little bit more impactful in my opinion. But again, I just don't want to get into specifics just yet. Any questions, guys? Y'all are a quiet bunch today. Thoughts on precip end of next week? Yeah, it's a little bit too far out. 28th, 29th. Um, Early indications suggest dry. We do have a warm front that lifts north. It looks like it's going to be pleasant weather for that time frame. But again, we're 243 hours out. So locking anything in would just kind of be irrational at this point. But looking at the overall trend, that system moves through and we're pretty much dry until Friday might have a system there as well, but it's just a little bit too far out to say. Yeah, it does look to warm up there for that weekend. It's just when we have those warm ups, though, we always usually have a cold front that comes swinging through that could crash the party, so to speak. So we'll watch that time frame. But overall, right now, it looks pleasant. Yeah, Todd, the La Nina pattern, which is what we're heading into, would suggest a warm and a wetter pattern into the summertime. So that would be definitely what's be supported there. It is Michigan. Snow in the morning, spring in the afternoon, summer at 4 o'clock. That's correct. Yep. Dress appropriately. Again, Detroit is kind of on that borderline, going back to the model here. The European is further south. It even has Detroit on that line of 1 to 2 inches, maybe sneaking into the 3-inch range. I think it'll be right between that 2 to 4 for majority of the state. Although the further south you go, the less chance you're going to have. So, for those of you like along the 94 corridor, I'm not entirely sure yet what your totals are going to be, but your chance of accumulating snow is definitely less the further south you go. But further north, 2 to 4 is definitely pretty much a lock, I'd say, for Friday. I see a lot of people, even news stations and stuff like that, saying Thursday night. I'm not seeing the Thursday night. I'm seeing Friday for this. So, Florida on Friday? No, we're not expecting any severe weather um, here in Michigan. But if you look to the further south, let's go ahead and take a peek at that real quick. Looking at that, you said Friday. You're clear for Friday. Again, Adrian's in the southern part of the state there, so forecasting snow with this system, we're just kind of not sure where that rain snow line is going to set up there. But in Adrian, you have a higher chance of getting more rain than you do snow at this point. But again, I'm not going to completely rule out that the snow does shift south. We get a couple inches down here, possibility. But right now, the models are a little bit further north. They're still bouncing around all over the place. It's hard to get a lock on this. Like here's the European, and I'll switch you to the GFS. It'll show you the snow for the GFS is much further north. Much further. It's not like a little difference here. It's like a difference of pretty much the half of the lower peninsula. I do think the Euro is more likely. I think there's a lot of cold air with this system. But again, the Friday time frame, if it happens during the day, we're going to have the sun. The sun definitely does help to keep the snow accumulations further down, should I say, because of solar radiation, I guess you want to call it. But at nighttime, the sun goes down, snow sticks better. So if this happens during the day on Friday, it may try to limit the snow potential. Jackie, you're going to be driving in snow there. Yeah, Drew, the lake effect definitely does take shape up north in the eastern UP and parts of maybe, say, Gaylord area, up in the snow belts up there for the week. But systematic snow, or whatever you want to call it, synoptic snow, that comes in Friday morning. No, there's no severe weather for Flint. We are not looking at severe weather for a long time here. At least the next, I'm going to say, 10 days. Yeah, Laura, we've actually covered this a little bit more in depth a couple of weeks ago. We do expect the upcoming season to be higher than above average in terms of severe weather activity. We actually have a pinned post on our page. There's also a YouTube video we made of how we expect the 2024 tornado season to shape out. So if you guys haven't already checked that out, you got to scroll. It's a featured post. It's like fourth or fifth over on our feature. You got to scroll sideways on it to get to it, but it's titled "What Could Severe Season 2024 Look Like" or something like that, and we explain simply in depth previous years, historical data, stuff that lines up that kind of tells us we are expecting an above average year for severe weather. In terms of temperatures, La Nina trends warm and wet. So I would definitely lean more towards that because we've been seeing a good correlation so far in the wintertime of our Enzo pattern, which is going to be El Nino, La Nina. And again, that's basically a measure of surface sea temperatures out by the equator that dictate jet stream positioning, everything in the United States, really. So overall, historically speaking, and also with the Enzo pattern, we are looking at a warm and wet summer. Carol, we're going to lock confidence down on Saturday and Sunday, or should I say Sunday and Monday, more so Thursday. We don't like to bring these systems to attention because a lot of shifting goes on. Just overall, it'd be a disservice to you guys to throw, hey, we have major snow possible, 10 days out. I've seen that actually on a few of these accounts in the Midwest, weather pages and stuff like that are just throwing out these hype, significant winter storm on its way. Okay, we are 10 days away from this, and shifting can occur even down to the last day. So to say that and it shifts into Canada, you just lost your trust of 50,000 followers, or however many followers you have. So you're never going to see us post in advance unless we're extremely confident, and even then we can be wrong. So I was going to say Thursday for that weekend system would be a good day to lock stuff in, or at least start getting more specific than what we are now. And for those of you who we have a lot of messages on our page, true, people who actually read those posts. For those of you who have joined us recently with severe weather early this spring, we try to give you guys the best information possible. We're not going to throw out anything on our page that we're not confident in. And for those of you who are new, we do not like to engage in clickbait or hype, which is a majority of what Facebook weather pages are nowadays. So if you ever have questions about it, feel free to ask us. We'll give you a realistic view of this. So you'll just don't get led astray is all I'm trying to say, because there's a lot of those people out there, including some Michigan pages as well. How much for Hillsdale? Again, it's a little bit too early to call. I would definitely plan on at least an inch or two, but again, that could easily shift both north or south. So it's looking at the European, we see the cutoff here for Hillsdale. It says 1.7 here for Hillsdale County. It's around the cutoff of the heavier snow. But if we look to a different model here, the GFS, we're seeing that snow line got shifted way far to the north. So locking this down, I'm going to assume that we're going to get some type of snow for a majority of people in the state. It's just going to be a matter of exactly where that line sets up. I said it before, I'll say it again. I think the European is more so accurate than the GFS. Usually the European model, which is the one you're looking at right now on your screen, is more so accurate in the mid time frame, about 5 to 10 days out. The European is pretty accurate. The GFS comes into focus, but then we get to short term, the GFS usually is better and the European is usually worse. So having knowledge of model biases like that is really important in forecasting. So over the next couple of days, look for the GFS to correct itself, is my opinion. But again, we're just not entirely 100% confident in that just yet. Any future ice storms? None that I see, which is lucky for us because usually in Michigan we get an ice storm around this time frame, late winter and early spring. Tomorrow is actually the official start of spring too, so we try to be transparent as possible. And we're good. We're not going to be perfect. No one can be perfect in this field, but we try our best to keep everything simple and straightforward for you guys. Any severe storms coming soon? Next 10 days, I'm going to say no. Look for mid-April, early mid-April. It looks to warm up again, so we could be looking at some storm chances then. So we're still probably about 15 days out from that, but that'd be the next time frame I'd be watching. How many models are there? There you go. Take your pick. We have a lot. The main ones we use though are the Euro, the GFS, the NAM, HRRR, and this year looking more so to use the RRFS, which is a new model that they're rolling out. It's supposed to replace some of the short-term models, which has done a pretty good job so far this year. It didn't last year, but it has been doing pretty good this year. But we have a plethora of models, and some are good, some are bad, some have biases. It takes a lot of knowledge to know which ones to look at, which ones to not look at, and which ones to look at with a grain of salt, which is why we don't suggest going to any model site and trying to figure out information yourself. Kyle, this is going to be the Friday time frame for the first system, and the second system, watch for the Sunday and Monday time frame for another snow system. Main two questions with both are going to be where the rain snow line is going to set up. First system is going to be a little bit less of accumulation, probably 2 to 4 inches, and the second one, if it impacts us, the way it's looking, might be a little bit more significant in terms of snowfall. But again, too far out for full confidence in that. The early to mid-April timeframe is always concerning in Michigan. Standale F5, Palm Sunday outbreak 65, or early mid-April range. Yeah, a lot of our weather, or should I say significant tornadoes, have occurred in early spring here in Michigan. And we've already seen 2 tornadoes in the state already this year. Grand Blanc was an EF2, which is considered a significant tornado. And then the Calhoun County near Marshall was 1 mile per hour shy of an EF2 status. So we're already seeing early season spring weather here, which is not typical. Usually we see more so a later, like late May, June, July, August season. Very rarely do we have this early season severe weather. Small instability is over the UP lake effect Wednesday afternoon for the HRRR. Lake effect snow banding probably possible up there. I would definitely consider this area up here in the UP where you see these brighter pink colors. That's your higher accumulation up near like Sault Ste. Marie or maybe even Gaylord area. If anything like banding, convective banding takes shape in those snow squalls, we could definitely see localized higher amounts possible further north you go. Any further questions, guys? Good conversation so far. If you guys got questions, feel free to shout them out. Don't be shy. If no more questions, though, I'll probably start to hop off here momentarily. Going to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, end of March to early April. Is there supposed to be severe weather then? You have like a date, Christine? It's a little bit too far out to really get a good idea of exacts, but we do see a couple signals for severe weather deep in the deep south, Mississippi, Alabama areas. We're going to see that correlated here coming up. Here's our overlap here of wind shear instability further south you go. And then that's going to impact the Dixie Alley area, maybe even bring some severe weather up closer to Indiana, maybe. We're seeing some overlap there. Again, this is going to be the March 26th timeframe. So we could be looking at a potential down there in Tennessee, March 25th, 27th area. But overall, exacts are still unknown. 28th to the 3rd, you're getting a little bit into the fantasy land area. We aren't going to really get a good idea. Pattern would support it for sure, as we see here going out 288 hours. So next March 30th, we see a good overlap here in Texas, Oklahoma. That could shift eastward. It does shift eastward. There you go. So there's Tennessee. This is the March 31st time frame. So the pattern would support it, but locking exact days down further south there, don't do it just yet. Just know the pattern's supportive. You can always ask us again. You can message us and ask when time comes closer to that. We'll be happy to answer that for you. I would expect so, Denise. I think it's going to be pretty warm and humid. And I'll also say this as well, because a lot of people are going to hate me for this, but I'll let you guys know now. I said it on the last live stream too. If you guys don't like wildfire smoke, it's not going to be the year for Michigan. Canada is dry as all get out still. They're in a severe drought, and wildfire season is going to be in effect up there yet again. So, what does that mean for us? Wildfire smoke is likely returning this summer. So, don't get your hopes up if you're thinking we escaped that. I definitely think we have a good shot at seeing more smoke here in the state. I know you guys are going to hate me for that, but it's going to be straightforward and to the point. Warren, okay, so the rundown on Warren is basically this. The rain snow line on the European model, I think, is more so accurate. So I think it's going to be right along the 94 corridor. The further south you go in the state, the less chance of snow you have. The further north you go, the higher chance you have. But the model uncertainty right now is really, really strong. So here's the European model. This is your snowfall accumulation, right around 2 to 4 inches here. But if I switch to the GFS model, this is what happens. Your snow got shifted about 200 miles north or so. Like, it's not a small shift, it's a very big shift. I don't think this is particularly accurate. I think the European is more so accurate. So model uncertainty still there. It's just we got to lock that down. I think 2 to 4, primarily for Warren, is a good guess. But you're on the line there of potentially getting more so rain than snow. So the forecast is not a lock. Go either way. All right, guys, that wraps up. I don't see any more questions here. Been up for about a half hour, so I'll go ahead and wrap this up now. So the gist of the live stream here: colder week upcoming, warmer temperatures tomorrow, 40 degrees. Not going to feel warm compared to what we've been used to, 60s and even 70s some of these days. So 40s tomorrow, and then 30s again upcoming week. Snow chances increase Thursday night into Friday. I think more so on the Friday time frame is looking more likely than Thursday night. 2 to 4 inches, I'm going to say widespread across the state. Further north in the eastern UP and northern lower Michigan could see higher amounts with this system. And then a secondary system moves in Sunday, Monday time frame, which could be more significant. But again, too far out for confidence. We'll have more details as they come out and as we get closer with more confidence to that. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to hop off here. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you all. Stay safe.